Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Mataure. Welcome back to my channel. We're doing something really exciting today. This is my husband, Mandla.
Hi everybody.
A few weeks ago in our house tour, we talked about how we're going to do a series on the biggest challenges that we faced in our marriage, and today we're doing part 1. Finances. Oh, this is a juicy one. This is a juicy one, guys.
Cha-ching.
It's finances are just such a touchy subject for a lot of couples, but as usual, we're going to be raw, we're going to be authentic, we're going to tell you our story, tell you how things are working for us, and as usual, put our business out there for your entertainment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think about it in the comments down below.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so part 1, we're going to go into everything about finances, from when we were dating right through to where we are now, all the challenges that we faced, how we dealt with those challenges, all the different scenarios and situations that we had to go through when we were managing money.
Right.
So we're going to be as blunt as we can be. It's not going to be easy. So if you want to get comfortable, grab a pen and paper, and maybe we might be able to share something that could help you in your relationship or your marriage. And yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. Consider clicking the subscribe button down below and joining the family. Let's dive right into it.
Okay.
We've been married for 2 years, and we've been together since dating time for about 5 years now. So we've had a bit of a roller coaster in terms of finances, but we'll start right at the beginning.
So I think at the beginning when we started dating, both of us were working actually, and I think soon after we started dating, I think about 2 or 3 months in, I lost my job. So it was now, a couple dating with, one person making money, and I wasn't making anything at the time. So it was very difficult. I think, it's one of those things as a guy, you always want to be that person who is able to take your girlfriend out and,
Who's a blesser?
So without the money, without source of income, it's a bit difficult to do that. And as a guy or as a man, it's hard to be able to have your girlfriend paying for everything, and you still want to be together, still show that you can provide. And it's not really a good sign if you can't provide at dating stage, if it's someone that you think you might want to be with for the long haul. So,
but I think the one thing that it did teach us was dating or being in love outside of money.
Yeah.
So, because we didn't have a lot of money then, of course. I was working, but I wasn't doing that well or anything.
Yeah.
So we had to learn to be very creative in terms of our dates, things that we'd be doing. And I think maybe that helped to sort of train us for the stage where we're at, and just taught us that, of course, money is great to have, but there has to be so much more that you can offer in a relationship outside of spending and spending and spending.
Yeah.
So fast forward 2 or 3 years later, we did this course at church called Preparation for Marriage, and one of the topics that was touched on was finances. So we decided already that, look, we knew we wanted to get married to each other, and we decided to do as much research as we could before actually getting married, so we would have an idea of how we would navigate finances when we get there.
So one of the things that we learned was that as a couple, when you're together, you should try and put your finances together. If you've got both people making or earning something, then you should try and combine your salaries, and then each person gets a bit of pocket money, and you put your money together and that kind of thing. But we found that didn't quite work for us.
It became a challenge for us as well, because now, fast forward, we got married, beautiful. He resigned from his job, I was working. And then that carried on for a while, and then I got pregnant, then he was working, I wasn't working. Which brought us a whole other set of challenges at the time, because we now needed to learn how to navigate surviving with one income. So in terms of the theory, on paper, we had it on lock. Okay, 2 incomes, he's got his money, I've got my money, we put it together, happy days. But now with one, that part became difficult to navigate, because now I was pregnant, and at the time also I was on bed rest, and I wasn't working, and he was the breadwinner, and not even just breadwinner, like every single cent that came into our household came from him. And for me as a woman who's worked and been independent for so many years, having to rely on someone else for everything was just so challenging for me. I am a bit of a control freak, I'll admit it, but it was so challenging. When every single thing you need, you have to ask someone else. I want a WhatsApp data bundle, I want this, I'm craving chocolate, please can I have money for chocolate? So that also presented its own challenges, and that was the stage where we probably fought the most about money.
So I think it's if you look at the scenario, it takes us from a situation when we're dating and she was working and I wasn't, to then the reverse of that, where I was now earning something and she wasn't. So it does come with its challenges when you'd want at least both of you to be bringing something into the home. And we did butt heads quite a lot, I think, because what ended up happening was sometimes I would go and spend money without telling her, and or we'd agree on something and then I'd do something else. And initially, like even with there's a car radio that I bought. So it just
okay, no, I have to give context.
Yeah. The car radio.
Okay, so this car radio that morning, so bear in mind I was pregnant. We were trying to come up with money for the baby and basic preparation, blah blah blah, medical aid, yada yada. So that morning, it was, and I'll never forget it, it was a Saturday morning. We talked about it and we said, okay, listen, from your salary that's come in, we need to do this. This is how we want to budget. This is how we want to save, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Then he went out unsupervised, right? So I stayed at home at the time, in Mataure at his folks' place. And then this guy comes driving back and I'm like, I'm hearing music. The car that I know doesn't have a radio. So that music better be coming from a phone, because that cannot be a car radio that I'm hearing. And he drives in nice and cool with his music. And this brand new car radio that cost, it was $1,000.
No, it was 150 US.
What was it? Yeah.
Something like
that. Anyway, 150 US. This guy went rogue. I was so mad. I was so angry, because I'm like, just this morning, the sun hasn't even set since we discussed this. This morning, you go and you do something like this. That has to be, and I was so angry. I was so angry, and I think at the time you just didn't get it. You're like, Jesus, what's the big deal?
Whoops. But at the end of the day, I think that was something that happened, and we fought about it. We butted.
I'm still bitter.
Yeah.
I'm still bitter.
But she enjoys the radio.
I do.
It's fun. But look, that's one of that's one scenario where I think I went rogue and did something that we hadn't agreed on. So it's something that you always need to consider when you are dating or when you're married, when it comes to finances, that you have to be open and honest with each other. You have to decide on something and stick to it. You can't divert. It works both ways. Even if she went and bought something that we hadn't discussed.
What did I buy?
You didn't do anything yet.
Yeah, I was about to say, what? I've never.
But I think, and it happens more so with guys. I think, so it wasn't just the car radio. I think even if I went out and the money would have come into my account. So then I decide, okay, I want to go and buy some drinks. I want to go out with my friends. And, the drinks issue and alcohol is, that's coming up in another segment. But basically spending money that you haven't agreed on, and it just makes things so much more complicated, and you fight over those things, especially when you've got kids involved or you've got things that you're working towards. So it's
and I think also in Zim, I think in an ideal world it's fine, because by our salaries combined you can cover the basics. But that's not the case right now in Zim. Like every single cent has a place to go. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's just such a challenge, and I think that lack of communication is so huge when it comes to finances. And at the time, because I'm someone who was used to doing my own thing financially, it hurt me a lot not being in control of finances. So it also had me questioning my value in the relationship. Fine, granted I was pregnant and all that, but I'm like, so I'm supposed to just sit at home all day doing what? And I felt victimized and attacked because and he wasn't attacking me, don't get me wrong, like just in my head, I was attacking myself because I felt like I wasn't contributing to the household. And that's not his fault or anything. I think I also had my own hang-ups and insecurities about money that I then may have projected onto him, and it caused us to fight a lot. And at the time, I think also what used to upset me the most is whenever I would want to spend money, I'm spending money for us and for our household, for our baby, for our future. But when he would spend money, he'd spend it on drinks, he'd spend it on a good time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, when it feels like you're pulling in two different directions, that was a miss. It was
misplaced priorities.
It was terrible. It was terrible. I think that's probably one of the top two maybe things that we've really butt heads on. But eventually we realized that, look, this is not sustainable. It's genuinely starting to fracture our relationship, and the method that we're using isn't working. So we decided to do something else. So eventually we decided to come up with a different strategy. So we then agreed that whenever he gets paid, he sends all the money to me and just keeps like a little bit of change for himself. So say for example, if it was $500, he'd send $400 to me and then keep $100 to do whatever he wanted to do, whether it was the haircut, whatever he wanted to do. That was his portion. And we discovered that me having the lion's share helped more because it's not like I'd be spending it on myself. It's buying baby stuff, it's buying things that we need for us. So we found that because I think between the two of us, I'm probably better with money and better with directing it to where it needs to go. I took on the role of the finances, basically.
Finance manager.
I became a finance manager. So it also helped me a lot because even though I wasn't the one earning the money, because I would have a huge say in its distribution, it really helped me get a little bit of control back, and we stopped fighting about it as much. Not to say I just was doing my own thing. No, of course we'd talk about everything and we'd still budget together, still agree on things. But because I don't know, there's something about it, like just having it in your account, it made a huge difference. Yeah.
So I think, with guys, that's probably not a very conventional way of doing things. I think for a lot of men, it's kind of like, you want to give your wife or your partner a certain amount, and then you still hold the purse, so to speak, so that if she needs anything, then she has to come to you.
Because it's also a power play. That's why I've noticed a lot of people use finances to control their spouses. Yeah.
But I think in our case, it's for me, it's worked better. I mean, I know that sometimes I've been careless with money in the past, and I'm still learning. So I found it's a lot easier, even for my own peace of mind, to just say, well, look, babe, here's the money. Do what you need to do with it, because at the end of the day, I know that one way or another it's going to benefit us, it's going to benefit the household, it's going to benefit our child. So she manages money better. It's as simple as that. She manages it better, and it's good for us. It works. So it works for different people. Or for us it's worked, and for some people it might not. But this is what seems to work for us. Right. And for a man, you might not want to feel that you've given all that power or that control to your wife or your partner, but it also helps, I think, to know that there's someone else in control of these things who's able to do things that you might not be able to. I think, with guys, we think about things very simplistically sometimes, and if you're trying to build a home together, I always think just leave it to your wife. Let her make those decisions. Yeah. And we consult, we chat.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like I just give all the money and say, okay, just run with it. Yeah. But it's good to know that part of things is being taken care of, from her, by her.
So fast forward to where we are currently. Right now we're both working. It helps. It certainly helps. Some things are still the same in that, every cent is still needed, We're not yet at that stage where we can say, okay, we pool our funds and then you have your money and I have my money. We're not yet there, but hopefully that'll work. Oh, the other thing that's unconventional that we agreed on, that seems to be working for us, is that I'm allowed to keep secret money.
Oh yeah.
But he isn't. So one of the biggest things we're told in counseling is no secrets about money, no lies about money and whatever. So that's what the counselors will say. But any black woman will know your aunties and your mom probably told you always hide money from your husband.
Secret stash.
Because things come up and a woman must be prepared. So for me, I was never comfortable with not being honest about money. So I actually asked him, I was like, hey, would you mind if I kept secret money? Because again, I think everything boils down to your intentions. If I have secret money, I'm sure you know I'm not doing anything ridiculous with it. So I don't have to account for every cent or any bit of saving that I have, because ultimately it's for us. But you can't do that. I'll be very, very upset if I find out that you have a secret bank account.
Look, unless no, not a secret account. Like if I put some money aside, maybe to surprise you, then it's a bit different. Okay, so that's a
no. I'm joking. No, of course,
but yeah,
of course. But no. But anyway, so we did agree on that part, because I'm someone who's just really big on savings. I'm someone who always feels the need to have something to fall back on.
Yeah,
so sometimes I feel like if I bring all our finances into the fold,
they'll disappear.
They'll be allocated. Let's put it that way. They'll be allocated to something. And yeah, so I think it's helped me also to be like, oh, I've got the $2 in my purse that, if, things go south, at least I have that $2. So that also makes me feel good. But I'm doing that without having to lie to him. So perhaps he can know maybe I keep money on the side. Could be $2, could be $2,000. He's never going to know until we need it. But it works. It's working for us.
Yeah,
so
no, it is working.
Yeah,
it is working. So I think at the end of it, we get different pieces of advice from different people and that kind of thing. And I think throughout our financial journey together, from dating through to marriage, and even now, having a child, we're still learning. We're still trying to come up with different ways of being able to save our money, to spend our money wisely, and that kind of thing. So I think the most important thing is being able to communicate with your partner about, what your concerns are, what your reservations are about the money that you're bringing into the home as a couple, and what works best for you. I mean, we've been given different methods of saving, investing, so on and so forth. But even given your particular situation, if we're all living in different parts of the world and so on, so each person's situation is different, each person's marriage is different. So do what works for you, but always make sure that you're communicating and you're open and honest, even if you're making yourself vulnerable. I think for guys a lot, we want to have that control and know that there is some money that we're holding on to, but also there's nothing wrong with coming out openly and honestly and saying, well, look, I might have lost my job, or I'm struggling to manage this money that we're getting into the house or into the household. Be open and honest about it, because in doing so, you are laying or sharing that burden with your partner, and it makes it a lot easier for you to deal with the problem.
And while we're speaking about sharing burdens, one of the things we did when we got married was we came forward with all of our debt. I said, this is the amount of debt that I'm in. He also did the same. We did a nice spreadsheet, because you never ever want financial surprises.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst thing, and has such a huge impact on your relationship. Financial surprises are the worst. They're the absolute worst. So in my opinion, full disclosure goes a long way. So we know, okay, this is our cumulative debt. This is how we plan to work towards it. So this is the plan for this is the plan for that. And it just helped us be open and honest with a lot of things. So even as things have come up, it's been difficult, because there have been scenarios where maybe he's gotten into some debt with certain things and he didn't tell me, or he would have made decisions. But because we're learning, he's also come forward and said, look, I've made a mistake. This is what it is. I've made this financial blunder, and I need you to know about it. And that's something that I appreciate, because by him keeping quiet, it's eventually going to blow up in my face anyway. So I think for us, we are 100% fans of full transparency. Everyone must be on the same page. And also, you should be able to admit when something isn't working. So we'd come in with our theory about, yes, our pooled funds, and then, whatever system we were planning on working on. And then we got on the ground and saw that it wasn't working.
And the thing is,
you adjust.
Yeah, I mean, as your financial situation improves or changes, you then need to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
I think at the time, before we moved out to Chimani Mani, we had several projects going on. I think I was doing some farming thing, you were working as well, and so I think at the time we tried to adopt one of the financial models that we had learned in counseling, and it was working for that time because we had
for that season.
There was money coming in, I think almost on a weekly basis that we're able to channel to different things. But then when the situation changed and then I resigned, I think, and we moved and all that, we've now had to completely shelve that or change that to a different model. Also now having a baby, we now need to worry about his concerns and what he needs, and that has to come before some of the other things that we might want to do as a couple. So just be flexible, I guess, at the end of it.
And also, it's also important to make financial decisions that make sense for your family. So after we got married, we agreed that staying in Harare was not an option.
Oh yes.
I've never been a fan of Harare. It's just maybe because I'm a small town girl. Harare has always been a bit overwhelming for me, and we also realized that financially we would not be able to keep up with the pressure. Harare can be very demanding, not just in terms of like your livelihood, but also they're just things to do. And we like things. This is our problem. We love things. We love to do things. We love to hang out with people. We love going out and doing stuff. But sometimes the pocket does not allow for that kind of a lifestyle. So we sat down, we talked about it open and honestly and said, look, even just going forward, does it make sense for us to be raising a child here in this city? Neither of us is particularly fond of it. The culture also of the city isn't something that we would really want for our child. Let's look at other options. Let's consider maybe moving somewhere cheaper. So we'd looked at a lot of options. We'd considered Bulawayo, which I would have been delighted about. Obviously, it's home for me. But we looked at a couple of other options, and then when an opportunity came up in Chimanimani, we took it. And it's helped us so much because in as much as I miss, my friends, I miss my social life, I miss going out and doing things, being here means there's a lack of options, which means we have no choice but to be focused and behave. So that has also helped us a tremendous amount. Generally, obviously there's some things out here that would be more expensive because of the location, but for the most part, it's really helped us to just financially rein it in and keep our spending under control. That's all we have for you today, everybody, on finances. I know finances is such a sensitive topic, and of course, do what works for you. We're not trying to preach to anyone about how to handle their financial situations, but maybe someone else might learn something from our story and our testimony.
Guys, please also, share with us, in the comment section below. Send us an inbox or something. Just tell us.
What are you doing?
Like
all the young couples, all the young single people out there, how are you managing your finances? We're always open to advice, and we would always love to be able to adjust things we're doing to make it better.
We always keep learning. That's the idea.
So stay tuned for part 2 of our marriage series. We're going to talk about another very, very huge issue that we've battled within our marriage, and that should be out next week, Monday. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We really appreciated having you here. Don't forget to click the subscribe button down below, and we look forward to seeing you in part 2. Alrighty, take care. Bye.
Cheers.